On the 10th green, and what we're going to talk about is the breakdown of the left wrist during impact, which can create a lot of errors. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the breakdown of the left wrist, and what that occurs from is well, what that's conducive with is the club head slowing down into impact, or the slowing down and deceleration of the club head. So what happens is when we take the club back and people tend to slow the club head down into impact, that's where the club face loses line and the swing path can be tarded by this certain fault. So what we need to understand is when we get into impact, that when people get over the golf ball, it's a rarity to have full confidence over your putting if you don't have the confidence to release the putter properly. So people have that uncertainty over the golf ball, sorry I can't speak today, an uncertainty over the golf ball which has an effect on their confidence through impact. I'm just going to come close to the camera just to see if that looks fine down the angle. So what we need to do is understand that this notion of breaking down of the left wrist, so I get to come into impact, the left wrist loses its position. When it loses its position, that's where the club face changes position. So left wrist controls the stroke. So a thing to think about here is we need to understand how the left wrist controls the stroke. So obviously if I come close to the camera, flat left wrist, if I flip that, the club face changes its orientation. So if I flip that, push my hands out to the right, that's where the club face open, and if I over rotate them, that's where it's going to point to the left. So what we need to understand here is we need to try and get the forearm and club shaft in a good angle. So the forearm and club shaft should be running in tandem with each other. So use the butt end of the club. So if I come close to the camera, put your left hand on the club, but grip down it slightly so the butt end of the club almost is locked into your elbow, like Soren Kelson when he clasps his hand on his right forearm. From here, I want you to close the hand and feel like that your left wrist is locked in. So from here, we want to maintain that triangle. So we create a triangle between shoulders and forearms, and if we get into impact and our left wrist is leading forward, that's where the club face will be in a square position. So obviously if you try and flip from there, you're going to hurt yourself, okay? So if I go like that, and then I'm going to really hurt my wrist. So if I get into a position where I take the club back and I can maintain that triangle, I can maintain that notion. So from here, another thing to think about, from down the line, if I maintain that position, then the club face will be square with impact. So I'll try this. So obviously put your right hand on the club. I do this because I'm cat-handed. So put that and keep the shaft running up the left forearm, okay? And just take the club back and through. The club, I can feel the butt end and almost in my wrist. So when we come down impact, I want everyone to pull with the left shoulder and pull with the left arm coming through impact and push with the right. Done a video on this last week. So if we can get into that position, so get into address, pull with the left arm and push with the right, and don't double hit it like that. So obviously break down. If I break down, my left wrist breaks down, I'm pushing with the right instead of pulling with the left and pushing with the right, okay? So if I can get into that position, pull with the left, push with the right, push that a wee bit. So maintain that position of the left wrist, maintain that notion. So if I maintain that position, then I won't need to worry about my left wrist breaking down, and I'll be able to maintain that triangle all the way through impact. So I'll come back into this, my last putt. So club shaft and forearm going all the way up the left side, okay? Maintain that position. So allow the left wrist to almost be pushed towards the target or pulled towards target. Left hand should push in that position. So hit this last putt. Pulled that a wee bit. But if you've got any thoughts on that video, focus on the left wrist, focus on the breakdown of that left wrist, which if you flip the left wrist, that can decrease dynamic loft and increase dynamic loft, and you might be struggling with the distance and the direction of your putt because you're not delivering the correct angles at impact and the correct dynamic loft. So it's important to understand how the left wrist should be locked into position. Any flicking with the right hand will protect the left wrist, so by having the butt end of the club almost up our forearm. So if you've got any thoughts on that video, let me know, or subscribe to my channel at Allan Golf.